Hello everyone, this is Powerless again with another brief video. After an extended break from YouTube, I've decided to dip my toes back in the water and make a series of videos to discuss various ideas. This will be a much more informal video than my normal content, and I'll mainly be sharing my views and opinions on topics I find interesting or important to the Halo community as a whole. The first three videos I'll make will discuss various topics regarding the quick approach of Halo 5 Guardians. In the first video, the one you're currently watching, I'll be discussing the topic of the UNSC and military communities and how these two clan types will adapt to the coming Halo 5 launch. In the latter two videos, I'll discuss in-game activity with special focus given to raids and how they might be improved heading into Halo 5. And then finally, the third video will discuss the metagame, which is primarily politics and diplomacy, and how clans interact with ways that aren't directly related to battles in the battlefield itself. In each of these videos, I'll discuss where the community is today and where I believe the community needs to be in order to succeed on Halo 5. In case you haven't noticed already, these videos will be primarily in a podcast format, so you can either tab this video and do something else while you listen to me ramble, or you can watch whatever random clip I have added in playing on the screen right now. With that out of the way, let's get started. UNSC and military clans. Before I dive into this topic, I feel a need to drop a heavy disclaimer. I'm a military community veteran and a UNSC community newbie. While I know a bunch of people from the UNSC community, I've never actually been in the UNSC clan, and as such, much of my knowledge about the UNSC clan community is based strictly upon either observation or word of mouth. While I might lack knowledge about the UNSC clan community, I make up for that tenfold in knowledge about the military clan community. I served as second in command under General JB and Shadow Sniper, the two founders of the UN, and arguably the two most influential people in the military clan community's history. In addition to that, I've served in a variety of leadership positions, ranging from second in command to V100 to numerous diplomatic and intelligence-related positions throughout a variety of clans. Generally speaking, I know what makes a military clan tick. As I said, I lack first-hand experience in UNSC clans, although I feel that my indirect knowledge should be sufficient for the purposes of this video. However, if you are from the UNSC community, and I do make some glaring mistake or misjudgment in my evaluation, please feel free to correct me in the comments. First and foremost, I want this video to be a point of discussion and brainstorming. If I make a mistake, correct me. Everybody will benefit from it. So now let's get into the meat of things. Since we're discussing the future, I think it's best we first discuss the past. The UNSC military communities have existed on every major Halo for a 360. Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, as well as briefly on Master Chief Collection on the Xbox One. I think that when attempting to evaluate a potential move to Halo 5, these previous transitions are critical to note. I can speak about the military's transition from Halo 3 to Halo Reach and from Halo Reach to Halo 4 from personal experience, so I use those transitions as a starting point. At the end of Halo 3, the Halo military community was relatively large, but wasn't huge by any extent. The transition to Reach was relatively swift and quick because the clans were really loose and malformed, generally bad. So the transition was easy because there wasn't much to mess up. However, once you got to Reach, the ability to recruit was almost instantaneous. The first 1 or 2 months, military clans swollen in numbers massively. You saw clans double in size almost overnight. So the transitions from Halo 3 to Halo Reach was a super important time for the Reach community, and I think that's what made the golden age of the community per se possible in the first place, was this huge influx of people so quickly into the new game. It's because obviously Halo Reach was a very popular Halo, a lot of new kids played it, and this is where a good majority of people who are currently in the community joined in at this time window. And then the transition from Halo Reach to Halo 4 was not as successful, mainly because Halo 4 was a poor game, so I'm sure everybody experienced this, you had that lag between should we stay in Halo 4 or should we go back to Halo Reach, and that transition really makes it difficult to evaluate the Halo Reach, Halo 4 jump in any meaningful way. But I think the Halo 3, Halo Reach is probably the most important to jump and the best example of what we might expect from Reach to Halo 5. And now for the UNSC communities. The UNSC community, to my knowledge, was relatively okay in Halo 3, and it obviously transferred Halo Reach well. But I think the important thing to note here is that the UNSC community never really experienced the huge amount of numbers that the military community saw. Historically, the military community, military clans have always been bigger than the UNSC clans. It's pretty much been a trend. This only really shifted, right, from military to UNSC in the last couple years. And I think the reasoning as to why UNSC clans over the last couple months or last year or so, this trend has been towards UNSC clans. I'll name NavCom, for example, as everybody knows NavCom, right? So I think the reason for NavCom's success and other clans' failures on the military side of the community is because the UNSC community functions in a different way than a military clan traditionally does. Military clans aren't really focused on personal relationship. UNSC clans, you have Spartan classes, you have Spartan 2s, you had Spartan 3s, Spartan 4s, etc. These have super long recruitment processes. To become a Spartan takes, to my knowledge, a couple weeks, couple months. To even get into NavCom, I talked to iSlayer briefly a couple weeks back to Kick Chat. I think he mentioned that the NavCom boot camp is like 2 or 3 weeks. Z4 said he went through in a month, but whatever. Apparently that's incorrect. But the important thing to note here is that the time to join NavCom, which is the flagship UNSC clan at this point in time, is a really long period of time. Compare that to military clans, which back in the Halo 3, Halo Reach transitional period, you could join any military clan within a day or two. You can join, I was co-lead of V100. You can get into V100 and be a member, right? In a little bit under a week. You can get into UN in like a day. You can get into DOD, FleetCom, UUF, etc. All these clans within like 1 or 2 days. And I think that lends itself less to like super loyal members, but to being able to recruit members really quickly and swell up ranks. And I think the ability to recruit super quickly is the reason why military clans were really successful in the first couple years of Halo Reach. When Halo Reach was a popular game, there's a bunch of new recruits. There's a constant influx of new recruits, right? And the military clans are able to capitalize on these new recruits in a way that UNSC clans simply couldn't, because they don't have the throughput that military clans do. However, as Halo Reach died off, which is what we saw the last couple of years, right? As the Halo Reach game died off, the casual players per se left. So you're left with super hardcore Halo players. You for example, look at the clan community now. Everybody who's in the community, or the majority of people in the community, have been here for a couple of years. This is really the most dedicated collection of Halo clan people you're going to have. So these super dedicated, super loyal, I don't want to say loyal in the traditional sense of loyal to a clan, but they're willing to stick with a clan, right? These super dedicated members are really the type of members that UNSC clans thrive on. They thrive on super dedicated, super determined, high activity members. And I think that's why the transition towards the end of Halo Reach was more towards the UNSC clans. UNSC clans, what they can't do with large amount of numbers, they can do with dedicated numbers. And as opposed to military clans, who are super good with large amounts of people, but they struggle with not so many people, even if these members are loyal. And I think that really explains the transition we've seen over the last year or so towards UNSC clans, away from military clans. Now, moving into Halo 5, I think the problem arises again where NavCom and UNSC type clans, I struggle with the idea that they'll be able to capitalize on the sheer amount of members people will have, or the sheer amount of new players Halo 5 will have. I briefly talked with Rorschach in the Kick Chat or whatnot, and he pretty much agreed on this, to my knowledge. The idea is that UNSC clans really can't deal with a whole bunch of recruits the way that military clans do. Because military clans, as I said, you get into these clans 1 or 2 days and you're a member. Sure, there's more training after that, but you're a full-fledged member. You can go to raids, etc. NavCom and other UNSC clans try to encourage a more prolonged training session, and for their Spartan classes and whatnot, you have conscriptions which are scheduled over months. So, as I've said a bajillion times, UNSC clans can't really capitalize on this. And I think the problem we'll have in moving into Halo 5 is that because the community's become so UNSC centric, I think the community's at risk for missing out on the first 1 to 3 months. So from October 28th or whatnot to January, or like 2 weeks after Christmas, the New Year period. I think that's the real period that we as a community need to try and succeed and try our best to gain members. And I think the problem I'm seeing, the problem I fear we'll have, is that the focus on UNSC style clans will really harm us in that window, because we won't be able to get the members as quickly as military clans would have been able to. I think the concern here is that I'm not seeing too many people interested in traditional military clan styles, and I'm not saying that military clan styles are objectively better than UNSC clans and vice versa. I'm saying that they're better for different things, right? So as I mentioned before, military clans are better for high member count Halos. So like early Halo Reach, as a bunch of people, military clans were successful. I think early Halo 5, there will be a bunch of new members. I think that will be a period when military clans are successful. 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, I don't think they will be, right? I think that's what we've seen play out over Halo Reach. But I think to assume that because UNSC clans are successful now, they'll be successful in Halo 5, I think that's a concern we'll have. And that's something I really want to hear guys' opinions on. This is something I came up with, the theory per se. I thought of a couple weeks back, and I discussed with a few people. I'm just going to put it out in the video, see what you guys think of it. Do you guys agree with this? Do you not disagree? How do you guys think UNSC clans and military clans will be able to adapt into Halo 5? Do you think you think UNSC clans will have the struggles I'm thinking they're going to have, or will they be as successful as a military clan would be? Or will we see a situation where UNSC clans, for a certain time period, try and restructure themselves in such a way where they can take advantage of this high throughput member count? Yeah, that's all we have to say. As I said, super brief video. It's a really brief commentary. I just want to express as an idea. There are 2 other videos coming up after this sometime, whenever I get around to making them, relatively soon. But yeah, I just want to hear guys' comments. Post them below. I'll lurk. Thank you for your time. This is Power out.